a special edition of Talk Asia, as CNN examines Japan now.
Hi, I'm Anjali Rao in Osaka with more of our special series Japan Now. This is Talk Asia. For more than 30 years, Tadao Ando's mission has been to mix beauty and practicality, resulting in his place as one of Japan's most important architects.
Japanese architecture is very much supported with the sense of nature of Japan and by the Japanese people.
From Manhattan to Texas, Paris to Milan and back to Osaka, Ando's work is commissioned by the most discerning and the fashionable. He's also dealt with crisis following the deadly disaster that was the Kobe earthquake.
I had 35 buildings which I designed in that area. Fortunately, none of the buildings had cracks or fell down.
Self-taught Ando tells us all about his unusual path to the top as he gives us a tour of his magnificent Church of Light. Mr. Ando, welcome to Talk Asia. Now, this is arguably your most revered work. Tell us about it and what this place means to you.
This was built around 20 years ago, and we knew from the beginning that they only had a small budget. But the people who come to this church are very devoted. I was asked to create a place where people can put their hearts together. You can see light come through from the outside, and I made this cross of light in the hopes that people's souls and minds can be united by the light through the cross. These chairs and this floor are made of scaffold boards, material used on a construction site. Such materials can turn out to be very attractive depending on the way you use them. The wall of concrete was kept the way it was when it was finished, and as the light comes in, it richly changes its expression. I wanted to build architecture with a low budget, but rich in character. As you can see, the light comes through until here, straight. I believe that architecture is fundamentally a public space where people can gather and communicate. Think about the history, think about the human beings or the world. I believe all architecture creating a place like that. All architecture has a public nature, I believe, so I would like to make a public space.
Yes, because people come here, don't they, and they fill these pews to worship their God in a place that you dreamt up. Does that not strike you as completely mind-blowing?
This is the place where you can use 5 senses to think. For example, you can sense by seeing people in the light, you can sense by hearing the sound and echo, and you can feel the atmosphere. The best time to see this place is when people are here singing hymns.
The Church of Light was completed in 1989, though since then you've designed an extraordinary number of projects around the world. How do you keep coming up with idea after idea?
I just returned from Italy yesterday. In Italy, there are so many significant architectural structures in history, such as the Pantheon in Rome or the Duomo. Italy is full of historical buildings, and Europe holds a great history of philosophy from Greece until today. I read all those books and see these buildings, and I think of where I stand when I design my architecture. I think of the past and the future as well as the present to determine where I am, and I move on while thinking of these things.
Mr. Ando, you have recently remodeled the Palazzo Grassi in Venice, and you've also designed the Museum of Modern Art previously in Fort Worth in Texas. What's it like to travel the world putting your stamp on places which are synonymous with beautiful buildings?
The Palazzo Grassi in Venice was built in the 18th century, and it was originally a museum. The plan was to remodel it as a museum again. So I thought that this could have huge cultural significance because with one visit, a visitor would see contemporary art as well as an 18th century building, and they would also be very conscious of being in Venice.
またダラスのフォートワースの美術館はですね、この地域っていうのは
The museum in Fort Worth. You know, Fort Worth does not have a center in the town. The city wanted to use a modern art museum there to be the center of the community. But Fort Worth is a city like a desert, so we had to irrigate the land, make a forest, then build the architecture. I would like it to be a place where people can come on Sunday, like my Church of Light, and have people communicate there.
みんながお互いにそこへ来て対話する場所にしたいと思ったんですね。
How personally attached do you get to your projects?
All those involved in the construction of an architectural design, from the architect to the builder, have an attachment to the architecture, although it's difficult to quantify the attachment. It usually takes 10 years to complete a building. For example, it took 8 years to finalize the Fort Worth Museum. I had a lot of emotion, a lot of attachment to that architecture during the whole process.
Japanese architecture is recognized all throughout the world. How much of it, though, influences your designs?
まあ日本の建築っていうのはね、日本の自然観、日本人の
Japanese architecture is very much supported by the sense of nature of Japan and by the Japanese people. In the West, they build an independent architecture by isolating it from nature. But in the case of Japanese architecture, as you can see, like in this building, it integrates with nature by having a space that cannot be distinguished whether it's outside or inside. Since I am a Japanese man who's been building through the experience of Japanese architecture, my actual designs come from Japanese architectural concepts, although they're based on Western methods and materials.
片っぽで日本的な完成の建築なんではないかと思っています。
Up next, from model planes to architecture's most coveted prize and everything in between.
I think this prize means that people have approved of what I created, with the help of many people.